Welcome back to Paranormally Correct. I am your host, Sarah, as always, and I want to tell you a story today about my experience with astral projection. This story fits into a couple of other stories that I'll be doing here on the channel, and I don't know at the time you're seeing this video if those will be posted yet, but once they are, everything will be linked together somewhere on the screen or in the description so that you can check it all out and kind of hear the whole story. But there's just so much to it. I thought maybe it would be better to kind of split it up into multiple videos. So that's why, but definitely check those out. Let's go ahead and talk about my beginnings with astral projection. I think we don't hear people talk very often about a connection between ghosts and aliens, which I've done a video on that in the past. And I don't know if too many people really talk about extraterrestrials and astral projection or the astral plane. Maybe people do and I'm just out of the loop, but I think there is something that ties all of these things together, something big that a lot of people are maybe not aware of. And I know for me personally, this has all kind of gone hand in hand throughout my life and throughout all the paranormal experiences that I've had. I'm not entirely sure like when it really started, but I was pretty young. I started seeing UFOs, and I'll never forget the first time that I actually saw a UFO. We were camping, and I hated camping, by the way. This one particular night, I was laying in my sleeping bag looking up at the sky, and I saw a disc. It was dark, but the moon was really bright and there were some fluffy clouds. You know how sometimes you can see the clouds at night. And I saw this UFO with lights around the center of it, kind of like, it almost looked like it was spinning, but I guess it was probably the lights just kind of undulating around it. But I saw it kind of fly through the night sky. And it wasn't real high. I mean, not like airplane height. It was actually quite a bit lower than that, to where I could really kind of see the shape of it and the lights. From that point on, I continued to see a UFO. And I don't know if it was the same UFO, really, but I always felt like it was the same UFO. As crazy as this may sound, I always kind of felt like I could see it whenever I wanted to. So there are like multiple people who have witnessed this phenomenon with me. I don't know if maybe these are all coincidences or what. I know there are a lot of theories out there about basically summoning extraterrestrial contact. So maybe that's what I was doing. I have no idea. But regardless of, you know, what the truth of the situation was, for whatever reason this was happening, it was a really big part of my life for a long time. If you're someone who believes that, you know, there's a connection between extraterrestrials and demonic forces, this story is even scarier on, you know, an entirely different level. Fast forward a decade or so, something like that, and I'm doing the original Paranormally Correct radio show at this point, me and my co-host, Chad. Hopefully he doesn't care for me to say his name, so I'm just going to say it. Because you all probably know anyway, because I post radio shows. We met a lot of really interesting people, so many people with so many different perspectives on the paranormal and, you know, different theories and different things that they contributed to the paranormal community, whether it was like psychics or researchers or, you know, just there are so many different things out there, different elements of the paranormal to cover, and it seems like there's always a person for every topic or aspect. Because of, like, you know, some of the guests that we would have on the show from time to time, we would always try to test things out or kind of independently research things, whether it was to prepare for a show or maybe because we were just curious, you know, whatever the reason was. We eventually ended up doing some astral projecting, or I guess I should say we were trying to practice astral projection. And I think, I can't really speak for him, but I think we both kind of went into it a little bit blind. We were also really into like past life stuff and past life regression, and we always kind of felt like maybe we knew each other in a past life. And I know a lot of people who are really into that theory of, you know, living multiple lives. A lot of them will say that you end up with the same circle of people throughout multiple lifetimes. We did our best to, like I said, to research things in any way that we could. And because we were both so fascinated with regression and astral projection and stuff like that, we tried experimenting in the only way that we could, or the only way we knew how, which was to try to do it. Probably for more than a year. we would kind of go back and forth once or twice a week, maybe not like every week, but we did this pretty frequently where we would try, when both of us were going to sleep, like we would talk on the phone and then, kind of have a little bit of a plan for how we would astral project and try to find each other in an astral projection. Probably more than a year into practicing this, we tried a regression exercise. And I know a lot of people would probably think, well, that's not legit because, you use a YouTube video as like a regression aid. We didn't have access to an actual person who could give us past life regression. So we tried it out with this particular YouTube video. And I don't remember if someone recommended we use this video, maybe a guest that we had on the show or something. I don't know. For whatever reason, we picked this one certain video, and this is one we would use frequently. I was really nervous about it. I was really terrified. They say not to try to do this type of stuff if you're afraid. I did it anyway. My co-host actually went first, Chad. He went first, and he had a really interesting experience, and then I went after his, and I didn't have quite as nice of an experience. It was terrifying. And as soon as the experience was over, I just had this overwhelming urge to run to my computer and type it out. I still have it. I don't know if you guys want to hear it. The only thing I know is that it didn't feel like a dream. It felt so real. It's just something weird that happened to me that I really have little to no understanding of. So over the period of a year, 2 years with like astral projection stuff, I'm not entirely sure how long this went on. It was a long time. I started like practicing on other people, willingly, of course. It wasn't like I was astrally creeping into people's houses after dark or anything like that. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. I had a friend in Massachusetts and I was able to, I guess, see what the inside of their house looked like. When I told this person about it, they said something like, oh, that's what the basement used to look like before it was remodeled. I quit remembering my dreams at some point. Things have been really weird with me and dreams and sleep since I did this. And even still to this day, all these years later, I don't remember a dream unless it's a nightmare. The paranormal activity in my life was overwhelming at this point. The things that were happening with like, UFO sightings. We took a group of people, me and my co-host Chad, we took a group of people on an investigation one night. Most of these people we didn't know, but it was a couple of my friends from high school and then their friends. We all had a UFO sighting that night. The paranormal activity was just out of control. It seemed like this was a very pivotal moment, like in terms of paranormal stuff. And it was just becoming way too much. At the end of the day, there was so much stuff happening that it was kind of taking a toll on me mentally and physically. It was just really exhausting. And on top of that, I was really staying busy too at the same time with paranormal conventions and the radio show and like going on investigations. It was a very crazy time of my life. Kind of one of the last times where I was willing to practice astral projection. I think after this, everything changed for me. I didn't really want to do it anymore. I don't remember, maybe there were a few times where I did after this, but I think this kind of turned me off to the idea of it because this was so real. It was the most real experience yet, and it was horrifying. Chad and I met in an astral projection. I don't believe this was a dream. I don't believe that any of this is a coincidence. You can take it however you want, but to me this is very real. I guess I materialized or I appeared in his room beside of his bed, and I think he was asleep. It was like I was aware somehow, without any prior events occurring at this point, that there were aliens in the backyard. A UFO and extraterrestrials. I understood simultaneously that I felt fearful or I felt some kind of sense of dread. This was not a positive experience. That's one thing that I took away from this projection, is that I felt very leery, to say the least. He, however, he didn't seem alarmed. It was almost as if like he was fully aware that they were there and he was okay with it. I kept trying to tell him that we need to go back. We need to go back. And I think what I was trying to tell him was go back as in wake up, or go back to our bodies, or I don't know, something to that effect. But then it was like I just disappeared, and that's kind of where my part of the projection ended. So just like in all of the time that we spent practicing this and then comparing notes with each other, we compared notes on this projection, and his story was frightening and very eerily similar to mine. He too had experienced that part of the projection. He also encountered me trying to tell him that there were extraterrestrials in his yard, and the spot that they were actually in was pretty much the exact same spot where we captured the picture of the back porch ghost, which is one of the other videos that you guys probably would want to go check out, because that kind of happened in the time period that this whole experience happened. But anyway, he said he could remember me standing by his bed talking to him. He said that at some point he got up, and then I vanished. He went into the backyard where this UFO was at, and there was an alien. But the alien looked human, but he said that this man, who he understood was an alien, was just so perfect and beautiful. Like his face was perfect, and his hair was perfect, and he just looked, kind of out of this world, handsome, if you will. But he said that this person was dressed down in kind of a sloppy way. He tried to communicate with this extraterrestrial, basically trying to ask all these existential type questions and what is the meaning of life? The alien would just, kind of like smile at him and kind of regard him, but it wouldn't speak until finally at one point it told him, you're one of the upright. And then that was the end of the projection for him, and nothing else happened. It's overwhelming to have an experience like this, at least to me. I don't know, maybe you guys have had similar experiences. You can let me know in the comments section if you've ever experienced anything like this, and how did you feel? I don't really know how to explain how I felt. I know that this story still kind of creeps me out to this day. I don't think about it all the time, but when I do think about it, it's crazy. I eventually quit trying to astral project. Didn't want anything to do with it. It didn't feel safe to me. I've just never been in the same place after that with the paranormal. I've always been really guarded and shut off to it. And I've had experiences since then, but they've been really few and far between. If I live the rest of my life and I never see another ghost or another UFO, I think I'm okay with that. I can't in good conscience recommend anybody try astral projection or trance channeling or anything, any occult type practice like that. I know that won't stop people from doing it, and I know that, sometimes you have to experience things on your own and learn from your own experiences. So my best advice, and I hope you, if you take nothing else away from this video, just, if you're going to do it, be very careful, be very cautious. Try to be really self-aware and pay attention to what's happening around you and how far you're progressing with it, how far you're taking it. I really feel like it's dangerous. In a nutshell, that's the very summarized version of my beginnings with astral projection and my experiences with it. I do have an old video that I made in 2016 on this topic, but the video is still up because it's cringy, but it's not that cringy. If you do go back on my channel and you watch it, please don't judge me too harshly. I was really nervous trying to film it, and I didn't really know how to film YouTube videos back then. Just take it easy on me. I hope you all enjoy this video. Please feel free to like this video and subscribe and stick around for more paranormal content. Until next time, guys, don't get eaten by Dogman and don't get abducted by aliens, and I will see you all very soon.